Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the After Hours Gaming League, where we are in Game 2 between Dropbox and Yelp. Dropbox currently up 1 win to 0 losses, which means that Yelp, sadly, is down 0-1. But not to fear, because as you can see, Team Yelp, a team of enthusiasm, teamwork, and hope, and Team Dropbox, a team of coordination and nice t-shirt design. Let's go ahead and hop into match number 2 and see what we're going to see. That's the best I could do. In the north position, we have Talon from Team Dropbox, who loves the atmosphere at Dropbox, especially around the time of 8 p.m. And when asked what team he feared the most, said that he most fears Google because he hears that the next GSL Code S champion will be a Google algorithm. That is confidence, my friends. And down in the south position, we have Ototo, who, if you go to AHGL.tv, you see that he wears a banana suit, so he immediately has a tremendous fan base. And when asked why is Team Yelp going to win, Ototo said, "We're going to have the most fun." That is the most talented of dodges I have ever seen, but that is the point of gaming, keep in mind. It's having fun! Playing games, playing fun matches, and getting the chance to get cast, so that way, if you make some sort of mistake on accident, it gets broadcast live, for instance, right now, to thousands and thousands of people. We see the Dropbox Terran now scouting the left position. The Zerg Yelp Ototo does poke up, wants to retreat that Overlord, scared to send it up north in case of fray. Ooh, I don't even know if he actually got the chance to see the Overlord. So that way he can avoid some sort of fray Marine straying its way up into the north position. We also see no gas yet from the Terran player, and that's always a big indicator of what his upcoming strategy will be. Ototo favoring the very early extractor pool opening. This will, of course, allow him to get the fast Zergling speed and then secure himself an expansion. Or, if he wants to Baneling bust, this is also a good way to begin getting that gas up early. Yeah, baby. For any of you who would like to know, because I actually have access to this, the man at the bottom, Ototo, is that man front and center. That is correct. Front and center, always the man ready to defend his team. We also see Ototo now doing a little scout around action, just making sure that the constellation not only is complete, but can also spot what the opponent is doing. And uh-oh, it looks like a 2 barracks opening from the Terran player. Could be seeing some aggression. The constellation continues from Ototo. A gas going down from Talon, who amazingly has not gotten an orbital command yet. And, oh, a bunker at the front! Oh, yes, please. Amazingly, Zerg does not yet have any Zerglings, any supply blocked. When the next larva pops out, only then can he begin building Zerglings, and only then can he hope to thwart the bunker that amazingly is going down at the front of the Yelp Zerg's base. And, oh no, the drone that quite naturally was going to expand to his natural expansion spots the bunker. So we do see, oh my gosh, Ototo pulling off a bunch of drones, still has about half back home mining, trying to take that out. Talon salvages the bunker, which, as you'll remember, the bunkers are free in StarCraft 2. A pair of Zerglings arrive, start to head out, and it looks like the supply block is now in Camp Talon. The Dropbox Terran beginning to make his way out. Keep in mind, Yelp has not won a lot of individual games in this entire tournament. So even if Ototo's team Yelp doesn't manage to take the win in this series, if he can take a win in the individual match, he'll be heralded as the Viking champion king of his company. There's the expansion going down right now. A single Marine. Oh, Marine, wait a minute. Wasn't the bunker salvaged? The Dropbox Terran in total retreat. Nice surround there by the Yelp Zerg, taking him down. The Marines just keep on coming. Second thoughts are occurring right now, so they are going to indeed sit here by the Xel'Naga Tower. They're going to have a conversation, reach a conclusion that both satisfies their internal needs, and then perhaps move forward again. We see a double tech lab going down for Talon. He now has his orbital command, second gas, en route as well. A little bit of supply depot rearranging. So the Marines had a discussion. It seems they couldn't come to a decision quickly enough. If we come to the units lost tab, we can see that 6 of these are all the 6 Marines that Ototo spotted, and 2 of them were the one that were likely mid-conversation. And yes, yes, I am delighted to see that the Baneling nest is going down for Ototo, the king of Yelp. He will be going for a Baneling bust. I do indeed hope, because that will definitely ramp up the intensity of this match. We see Factory Engineering Bay out for Talon. Wants to make certain that he has a Reasonable amount of tech and upgrades coming up. He's getting a pair of Reapers to likely go forward and harass, but with this control of the Watchtower, the Yelp Zerg is going to be in fantastic position to just spot any incoming units. Baneling Nest now completing. Let's see if Ototo wants to move out and do any sort of damage at all. We also see that the Queen is about halfway done at the natural expansion. Continuing along, no extra gas geysers for Ototo, has not yet committed to any sort of tech. Banelings actually are being morphed in the center of the map. Could begin moving those forward, could be just stockpiling up a little bit of an army. He has seen that Talon has been a little bit aggressive with his early marining numbers. With the factory now done, Talon will likely begin making tanks. Command center is down. Going to start expanding very soon, and I'm curious to see what Talon's going to be doing with these two Reapers, whether he actually just wants to have them at home base, whether he's waiting for that money 3. Generally, 3 Reapers is very good because you're almost guaranteed to be able to pick off the drones in 2 short swipes, or excuse me, 1 short swipe with all 3 of them. We see more Banelings getting morphed. In the production tab, we see mostly Zerglings from Ototo. An Evolution Chamber. Uh-oh. The Yelp Zerg looks like he wants to get some upgrades, which I am quite surprised to hear about, considering they already have a pretty damn good search engine system. Ototo now retreating back, and listen to the pitter-patter. Wait. I did not know that Banelings made a pitter-patter when they moved. An amazing momentous discovery has been discovered on the eve of the second match between Dropbox and Yelp. We see that the Overlord spread from the Yelp Zerg is very good, having excellent spotting all around the map. Double gas going down at the expansion. And in the main, all 4 geysers are thrown down in that Destiny-esque style. No upgrades have yet begun. But meanwhile, back home, oh yes, Nitro packs, come on! Nitro packs one time. If Talon can amass an army of Reapers, not only will he likely lose all of them, but will win the heart and soul of everyone watching right now. The Speed Reaper, one of the most underused units, but we've seen it used more and more by players like MMA, like Six Jacks Major, and now like Talon from Team Dropbox, who, no way, is floating to the 3rd island expansion. Talon, you sneaky rascal. Talon. Moving over to the left, absolutely no attempt at the natural expansion. He's going defense at the top of the ramp, plus massive amounts of Reaper. Starport now going down in the main. Upgrade, the +1 attack is now done. The Zergling Baneling bust by Ototo has just stayed home. And it looks like he's going for the rocks. It was a moment of tension there because I was thinking, are these Banelings really going to crash into those destructible rocks? But Ototo, with remarkable micro, pulls them back, and we'll be waiting patiently. Ototo now going to be taking it down. We see that the Reapers are at the right side of the base. Nothing yet is there, so no expansion can be taken out. We also see the Infestation Pit for Ototo en route, nearing completion, and there it is popping out right now. Couldn't begin massing up those infestors. We see the Burrow, we see the Overseer. I sincerely hope we get to see Bro Banelings this game, but it looks like the Reapers encounter the Zerglings, and Ototo, oh no! Looks like Ototo getting taken down by Talon with the Scraw. Talon! Loses everything. So we also see that the Banelings continuing to stay at the front in a good defensive position, but it's going to be a little bit dangerous, as we do see a push from Talon, massing up. No pre-igniter yet, just a very standard Marauder Hellion push, but he did manage to pick off quite a bit of those Zerglings. So even though the Reaper loss was fairly significant, if he can dart forward and deal with these Banelings well enough, he'll be in good position. Uh-oh, it looks like Talon's trying to get in a good center position of the map. We see that his hidden island expansion, kinda-ish, is getting double gassed right now. Starport with the reactor, more Hellions, more Marauders en route. And for any of you who are unfamiliar with the After Hours Gaming League, I strongly suggest that you visit AHGL.TV. AfterHoursGaming.tv is basically redirects to the same place. These teams are competing for $5,000 to the charity of their choice. I do believe that Yelp is for Child's Play and Dropbox is for Meals on Wheels. Talon now pulling back. The Dropbox Terran regrouping in the center, continuing to poke out. Let's see if he'll be able to spot Yelp's Zerglings. He does. Manages to take a few shots down, but the Baneling numbers are getting increasingly high. We see that the Infestors are en route as well. Another hatch is done at the gold expansion. Meanwhile, back home, we see that Talon is still making the Marauder Hellion Force, now getting the Medivacs. In addition, has a lot of gas coming in, has all 4 geysers at those bases. But where will Talon choose to make a push? That is a good question. One thing to note about Banelings, they have no armor types. That means the Hellions are really not that good against them. Very few things are very good against Hellions. Or excuse me, against the Banelings. And oh, the fungal growth! The surround Talon! Ah! With the scraw. And the reason I give him a scraw is because that's the noise that things with Talons make. The Dropbox player losing massive amounts of Hellions. The Marauders are regrouping for Talon, though. We see Ototo still with a very lean Zergling Infestor Baneling mix. There's the scan. He sees that the creep has not joined the 2 bases. The main's a little bit more vulnerable. This expansion has not really gotten the chance to get going, though. We do see that +1 attack upgrade started for the Yelp Zerg. The Yelp Zerg is going to have to make some magic happen fast. We see some loading, unloading going on in the center of the map. And still just producing this mix of Marine, Marauder, Medivac. And oh no, Ototo, your money, a trust fund has developed from Ototo. Perhaps he will be able to reinvest it in his parent company of Yelp. Or he will perhaps use it to construct more units to help his team win that $5,000 charity. And it looks like Talon will be going for a drop. Talon, even though he's behind on food, he's doing a great job of keeping that money low. The Marauders, no, Marauders, you'll reveal our plans. Go home, Marauders, go home. You're not wanted in these medevacs. But oh no, the Marauders may make the longest journey. No, they're pulling back. And uh-oh, unloading right next to the Evolution Chamber, starting to do quite a bit of damage. The Zergling count from Ototo is very high, but the Evo Chamber with the +1 upgrade gets taken down. And it looks like Talon, oh, hot pickup achievement unlocked. Hot pickup indeed. We see the Marauder Force now retreating back home. We see that, ooh, double Blue Flame Hellion upgrade with the double Medivac production. We also see Combat Shield and Stim is being researched. 1-1 upgrades complete for those infantry. Ototo has more money, a bigger army. His macro has not been the greatest, but Talon macroing quite well, keeping his money low, but still behind. I'm worried. Ototo, if he starts really spending through this money, could be pretty big danger. Pretty big danger time for Mr. Talon. We also see the double extract going down for Ototo at the gold base. Drones now rushing forth. Queen about to pop. Allow him to produce more of that ever-so-needed larva. And 2 Vikings coming out, oh no, as if the nightmare could not continue anymore. We see a pair of Vikings now floating out. The Overseer. The confrontation begins. Missiles are flying, missiles are flare. The Overseer really cannot go anywhere except into the caring, consoling arms of the Infestors that are going to gack him up. Uh-oh. Looks like the Vikings are split. He misses one. Oh, he manages to catch it. Will he get it again? Oh, he misses the Viking! They're going to be able to escape home, and now these Infestors have no energy, and they are really embarrassed. But don't worry, Infestors have their own built-in emo technique. They can go hide under the ground away from civilization and only pop back up when they have enough energy to face the world. We now see that the natural expansion for Talon has gotten started. The Dropbox Terran continuing his theme of acquiring more and more and more resources. But he's going to have to re-examine his strategy. I hope it came built in with version control. Looks like he is re-editing the structure in his base to get yet more starports up. Trying to get likely more Vikings. Looks like he realized how nimble these little creatures were, the Vikings. He will be able to get back onto the field. And in the meantime, Ototo has now become my favorite player. Do you guys see how many Banelings there are? If you don't, there's 64 of them. Oh, that's so good. And because, of course, he works for Yelp, it's unsurprising that the number of Banelings is a power of 2. More Infestors joining the fray. Now, keep in mind, these players, as you may or may not know, are not tip-top Grandmaster level players. They are just casual gamers like you or me. And it's important to note the big differences that can occur between these levels. Right now, this army from Talon might be an absolute murderous force against an amazing Zerg. But, I mean, honestly, honestly, if Ototo gets off a few good fungal growths and crashes in there with those banelings, this could spell a lot of trouble for this army. Ooh, another nice fungal growth! All the Hellions! This is the key! Oh, they escape with red! Oh, no, he needs to get another really huge blow with the infestors. Here comes everything. The Zerglings are getting eaten alive, but here come the banelings. Get them! Yes, the fungal growth! Nom 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 nom. Oh my gosh, I give it a 5-star rating. You didn't even need to make reservations. What an incredible hit by the Yelp Zerg there against the Dropbox Terran. Didn't even get the chance to run away. We see more Marauders in production. We see Hellions galore being produced. Vikings en masse. And Zerg still has a trust fund in the bank and sends several children to college. With that, we see that the Baneling speed finished just in time for the Banelings to be able to take a quick cooldown jog before preparing for their second engagement. And suddenly, the Yelp Zerg that was looking a little bit behind and was having a little bit of a struggle at the start of the game now is going to be able to jump leaps and bounds ahead, taking a 4th base on the right side of the map. A lot of Vikings out on the field for Talon, and interestingly, though the Infestors can hit a big fungal and start to whittle these Vikings away, without any real anti-air, all of Ototo's Overlords are in a ton of trouble. It's a very common play that you will see Terrans and Protosses make, focusing on air control, trying to deny those Overlord counts from getting too high. We see the Zergling force pulling back, but no matter how big ballin' those Banelings be rolling, they cannot explode up. Explosions are a purely horizontal process. More Marauders in production. Wow, a little bit of a swap going on with the factory. We see another tech lab from Talon. Please tell me that there's a fusion core somewhere around here. I desperately want to see a fusion core. Well, there's no fusion core. But we do see that Talon has discovered the juicy Overlords. Oh, and it looks like 3 of them get nabbed. A couple of misses on the fungal, and it looks like Talon, you're so bold. Be careful, Talon. Dropbox Terran moving in, taking all the Overlords out. And the real tragedy is that the Yelp Zerg, amazingly, has way more than 200 supply of Overlords. He has been essentially unaffected from that relatively large loss of Overlords. In the meantime, in the right position, we do see the Yelp Zerg has managed to get his 4th expansion secured. Queen there is now available and up and running. Natural expansion mined out, as well as the main. Hive is coming, and I will say this is a classic fear moment at all games of this level. If your opponent does struggle with macro and gets money this high, it's very easy to macro with ultras. You hold the U button and your money suddenly drops to 0. Uh-oh! I think we found a Baneling vein. Looks like Toto's gonna have to micro. The Dropbox Terran trying to find a good angle, but oh no! Oh no, it looks like we're gonna see the Yelp Zerg move around for a surround. And oh, he gets the Hellions! And the Baneling splitting up in the center of the map. Oh no! Oh, a complete and total misclick! No! Sacking a lot of those ground units, and now we see a lot of Banshees queued up. Banshees en masse from the Dropbox Terran. And our good friend the Yelp Zerg getting a little bit burned alive. A little bit roasted to death with fire. But the Mutalisk coming out of nowhere. Does he even have anti-air? He has a pair of Vikings. Oh my gosh. Huge tech switch by the Yelp Zerg. Ototo is just going to hang out at home with him. We do see that all the Vikings from Talon, the only anti-air that he really has, moving through to the bottom right side of the map, and with this hive done, any choice of either Broodlords or Ultralisks can be a nightmare. We see, a lot of Mutalisks from the Yelp Zerg now moving over. The Vikings going to be in a lot of trouble. They're now trying to retreat, but Mutalisks fly faster than Vikings, trying to do the infamous scoot and shoot. But Ototo doing the ever more infamous 1A. The end. 1A, my favorite bedtime story to tell to all of my children. And it's, of course, very easy. It's a very light load as a father. We see that the Thor is now in production for Talon, who really has essentially had no anti-air up to this point, has been focusing on the very heavy anti-ground Marauder Hellion core. We see a handful of Marines. We see, 4 Marines. Well, that's fine. Each one gets their own personal medevac. Starting to stockpile up. We see a Seeker missile. Oh, please, yes. Yes, we see a missile. For any of you who have never fist pumped while watching StarCraft, welcome to the After Hours Gaming League, where we may yet see a Hunter-Seeker missile. I think it's just called Seeker Missile, but in one version it did have the word Hunter in it. Hellions still trying to move out into the middle of the map. They are going to run into those Hellions. Or, excuse me, into those Mutalisks. Mutalisk count ridiculously high right now for Ototo. Meanwhile, back home, we do see that he has not started the adrenal gland. Actually hasn't gotten to do too much of any tech with that hive. Just a big stockpile of Banelings, Zerglings, and Infestors in the center of the map. Getting a little bit more vision control, we see that the red Zerg does have a reasonable grasp of vision on the center of the map. Turrets are everywhere. And it looks like the Yelp Zerg's going for it. Dropbox Terran scrambling to rearrange his base. There's a couple of extra add-ons hanging out there, and despite lining the base with turrets, there's really not that much that he can do. Uh-oh, if these cluster up. Oh, taking some heavy damage! They do manage to get out of there in time, though. And all the SCVs run up to repair, because they have watched Trump play and know the power of having all your SCVs involved in the battle, repairing those Thors. So there the Mutalisks now are doing a little bit of micro action, trying to pick off whatever they can, trying to make sure that they're not too clustered themselves. More Zerglings being produced by Ototo, who has all of his hatches hotkeyed to that center. We see the Spider-Man spiderweb exploding out back to all the bases. No mining at this top right base, as we do see that the Zerg players are around 60 drones. A reasonable amount, not quite near the 75 you usually see. And interestingly, this mix of Banshee, Thor, Hellion, apparently now with some Marauders, has not really been used since the early days of StarCraft 2 coming out. It was very popular from a lot of top North American players like Drewby. Don't forget, though, the power of the Banshee. Uh-oh, moving into the middle of the map. Oh! And now target firing the Infestors. If he can kill these off in time, then he will completely negate the power of the fungal growth. And there, he manages to do it. Wow, that's going to be a huge win for the Dropbox Terran. Dropbox currently up 1-0 right now. And Ototo from Team Yelp trying to stick it out for the win. Trying to hold on. And we see the more Banshees moving in. Where's the Overseer? Oh no, they have the speed upgrade. But they're still going to be able to do a lot of damage. They target fire the Queen, and they are running. Get out of there. Get out of there! They leave behind one Banshee. Wow, nice play by the Dropbox Terran, leaving behind one Banshee. We see a couple of Lego parts falling off of it down to the ground. But ladies and gentlemen, we got a real match. We got a real match. You better uncloak those Banshees. They are not small children who've consumed too much Coca-Cola. They will run out of energy. And oh no, the huge Baneling hit! The huge Baneling hit rolling through almost all of those infantry, but the real question is, how are these Thors going to line up against the whatever? I can't remember which one I said first. It looks like the Mutalisk, the last line of defense for Ototo, getting ripped apart, but 84 Zerglings coming out right now. We see the rally point has been rearranged by the Yelp Zerg. Oh, Dropbox looking quite good right now. Advancing forward, going to be able to take out the third base. We see the Thors having huge kill counts in the 5s and 6s. But more Banelings en route for the Yelp Zerg. His rally point is a little bit off. Has to be careful to reposition that, but we do see the 2-2 upgrades almost done. And he's going to go for it right when the 2-2 upgrade hits. The Mutalisk, still down south, does big damage to the Thors. And now the Mutalisk, with nothing really to deal much damage in an anti-air fashion. Oh no! Take a huge hit! They were clustered for like 1 second! My God, my voice does not have enough octave ranges to express my shock at the amount of damage that those two Thors did to those Mutalisks. Oh, Yelp Zerg, who is now mined out at his natural expansion. He's mined out his main, he's mined out his nat, he's mined out his gold, but he hasn't mined out the 5,000 in the bank. So he still does indeed have a fleeting chance. We do see Talon sending back injured medevac with injured Thor, has taken out the 4th and 5th bases, recouping, regrouping in the middle, but I'm starting to worry about the cash flow for Dropbox Terran. Not worried about the cash flow for the company Dropbox in general, but for this individual player, I have fears. Banelings, oh, going to be pulling back. We see one burrowed Zergling, now unburrowed into the fray. Burrowed burrow drones, hoping that they can maybe retake that right in expansion. And it looks like the Dropbox Terran regrouping for an attack. Mutalisk over to the right side. Oh, the Mutalisk amazingly always clustered. Ugh. Those poor Mutalisks, I worry about them. I feel bad for them, but don't worry, Ototo. You have the power of the E button on your keyboard. And by the way, E is for Baneling. But no, it looks like he is just going to go for it. He is going to try to surround. He's hoping that the Hellion count is not too high. It is. And there's the good game. Oh no, the Yelp Zerg. With all the money in the bank. The slightly superior force, but with the angle and the clumping in the less than ideal position, we see that the Dropbox Terran is able to take the win. Oh no, poor Yelp. If they sustain one more loss, they will be 0-4 in the After Hours Gaming League. Dropbox, if they can put this win on, they'll be 2-2. But keep in mind, match point is coming up next. Stay tuned to find out what will be occurring in Week 4 of the After Hours Gaming League between Dropbox and Yelp.